I'm excited. I'm pumped. There's very few of my fellow speakers that I get excited about taking the stage with. I'm about to take with Grant Cardone at the 10X conference, and he always throws some really good questions at me, and I always keep asking him, how's he going to 10X me? You'll see. Sales is by far the number one reason why companies exist. The world has the opportunity to buy anything from anybody in the world. We pick out our iPhone, we pull out our iPhone, we can buy anything. Why am I buying it from you? There's only two ways to operate a business: reduce costs and increase sales. There's only three ways, and I've shared this with you before, to deal with a potential or a customer. There's only three ways to deal with them: acquire a new one, upsell a current one, or make one buy more frequently. But all that is sales.
Say that again. You said a couple of things.
Acquire.
Only
two ways to operate a business.
Yeah.
Reduce costs.
Reduce costs.
Or increase sales. That's it. Only three ways to deal with the customer: acquire a new one, upsell a current one, or make one buy more frequently. That's it. I'm a guy who came from the streets. I'm going to talk about it in a very simple way, not this high level, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This stuff is like for everyday people to understand. And if you understand these simple basics and fundamentals, then you can build upon it and make sure you do it your way.
So when you're evaluating a company like in Shark Tank, I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I'm like, how these guys are buying these companies? Okay? So I don't know how much of that you can tell me.
I can tell you a little bit.
You can?
Yeah.
I love you, man. So like when I watch you do it, it seems pretty simple. You're like either interested in it or not. It either fits your
no, because you got to think about it like this. Half of those pitches are anywhere from 45 minutes to 2.5 hours. You're going to see 8 minutes of it, and that's 8 minutes of it, and they have 24 cameras shooting all of us, shooting each chart, whatever. So they technically have about 24 hours worth to narrow down to 8 minutes. So my thought process is going through various things, and you're only seeing a little bit of it. Often somebody will come on Shark Tank, and I will say, man, I hate this idea. And then all of a sudden they'll talk about the number of sales they have and where they sold it, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, I'm the idiot here, you know what I mean? I didn't realize how good it is, right?
Yeah.
And then others, I would say, this is the greatest thing ever. However, I realized that I am not a good partner for this because I don't see the vision. I always joke about Lori, but I'm serious. She is what we call the flea market of Shark Tank. If it's $20 in plastic, she's gonna sell it, right? She sells more plastic than Happy Meals at McDonald's, right? That's Lori, that's her thing. And I remember somebody coming on with a little clip that you put on the edge of your shirt or suit or blouse, and it's to hold your glasses in case you fall down. Now, Tommy Bahama, myself, many designers have been making a little hole in the top of the pockets to put glasses in. So I said, this is crap, it'll never work. However, Lori's been selling reading glasses for 15 years to a consumer base that supports her. She goes on and buys this little piece of crap, and she's done $10 million worth of this garbage.
Wow.
And I hate her.
You hate her.
I think the lesson we can learn from this is all of you who are trying to raise capital, find partners, make sure you're not so eager to make sure the partner only is a dollar partner and they're not a strategic partner, and what's in it for you. How will you value? Now, if you're going out and you're raising like Graham shows you how to get capital from the bank, then okay, the return is interest that they will get paid upon. But if you're looking for strategic partners and they don't see the value in your company, they can actually hinder you because that's a percentage you're giving away to somebody who's not going to bring value to you when you could have gave it away to somebody's going to pay and they're going to bring value. So be very conscious of where you get money from. All money is not good money.
What does that mean, all money is not good money?
Well, all the money is not good money. If you came to me and you said, hey, I'm doing that glasses, those type of deal, then I would say, okay, here's your $200,000 that you're asking for, but then you call me and say, well, can you help me get to the reading glasses market, or the optical market? I said, I don't know anybody there. You should have done a deal and taken $100,000 instead from somebody else who said, I'm a distributor, I'm a manufacturer.
So you're saying the guy I sold you a piece of my business.
Yeah, and then
you can't actually help me.
I can't help you.
So he's saying all money's not good money.
All money's not good money. Also, don't take your money too soon.
That's what I was going to ask you. And would a person be better off than selling a piece of the business, be better off taking a loan out?
Taking a loan out, doing other things. OPM doesn't have to be other people's money. It could be other people's manufacturing, mind power, manpower, marketing. When I first got an order for $50,000 t-shirts, I remember going over and saying, all right, the store, they didn't want to give me, I didn't have the money. they didn't want to give me the money straight up because I would have bought a brand new Hyundai. You know what I mean? If you would have given me $50,000 at that time. I went over to my screen printer. He was making my shirts for $6. I said, do me a favor. I'll give you $7 if you make the shirts for me and you're going to deliver them directly to the store. The store will pay you. I don't have the money in advance. But the screen printer said, all right, I was normally making X, now I'm going to make more on it. I know this kid ain't got the money, but I know the store has the money, and that store also may come and use me for other screen printing. The store said, I trust the business who's been around, not the kid. Okay, what did it cost me? I wouldn't have had those sales anyway. It didn't cost me anything on my company.
Do you guys understand what he just laid out there? So, and now how did you come up with that creativity?
Because I was broke.
Yeah.
And I had to,
and you were committed to another outcome.
I had to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And many of us do the same thing. We go out and we say we want these orders, and what happens? You may end up getting an order.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what the hell did I do?
Yeah.
How am I going to figure this out?
How much creativity do you think comes, and I was interested because Sarah Blakely was here this morning.
Into what?
Sarah was here, and I was like, I wonder how much different she's running her company today when she has money as opposed to when she had $5,000. How much of a disability is money? Because I think a lot of people think if they had money, it'd all be great.
Huge disability, huge. That's why I wrote The Power Broke, because once I started to make a lot of money, I went and started acquiring companies, and I decided to do exactly what I had not done before. I bought the high-priced marketing agency. I bought all these big salespeople and all these other people who promised to sell stuff. But you know, if you don't roll up your sleeves and you dig into it yourself, you don't know what people are telling you the truth or not. And $6 million later, I realized that I blew the money. Now I figure it out, even now, today.
And if you didn't have that money then, would you have still figured it out but not lost the $6 million?
I would have figured it out. I would have figured it out. You know, money becomes, you know, and also, you know, let me tell you something. When your business is suffering and you're like, well, let me just spend more advertising, and the salespeople and everybody else are like, well, you know what else you need to do? No, you need to sell, right? Stop telling, all you're selling me is how long I should keep paying you.
Yeah.
Right? You need to go and take your ass out and sell. And you need to know how to sell personally yourself.
The CEO?
The CEO has to sell.
But the CEO's a CEO. I mean, shouldn't the CEO be some guy in the office delegating and telling people what to do?
Yeah, I mean, they should be, or they could also be a guy who now has to leverage everything they have in their life because they weren't on the front line selling. You know, they were showing up at the trade show a day late and leaving a day early, right? They were letting their CMOs and all these other people who are number crunchers tell you about all the beautiful things. Oh, we need to do a photo shoot in the Bahamas. No, we need to do a photo shoot in Harlem. You know, I ain't got it like that.
That you would, if you had a bunch of money sitting around,
You said, yeah, but
when I read The Power Broke, I'm like, because Elena kind of blames me sometimes for being broke all the time, or kind of poor, like, you know. I'm like, dude, we don't have any money. I got rid of it. Daymond John said there's power in being broke.
I think power in being broke.
Yeah.
You know, like we fundamentally disagree and value other things, right? And then we fundamentally love other things. When I see him on his private jet, I'm like, what the hell is he doing?
Oh, really?
I laugh at you.
You think it's stupid, huh?
Well, you know, here's the way I think about it. A round trip to California is $60,000 when you use a private jet, right? Now, I'm going to use JetBlue. I'm going to lay in the bed there. They have a couple of mint, drinks there. The waitress is going to come by. The waitress is not necessarily on the private jet. They should book it or not. I mean, I use private. Don't get me wrong, about 20% of the time, in case I need to bring my whole staff. I need to get them in a timely manner, or the check is big enough to get that damn flight. But if I'm going to spend, if I can bring me and maybe 2 or 3 other people for $5,000, and I get there, maybe my travel time is about 3 hours, 4 hours different. It's costing me an average of, I'm saving $55,000 times 4. I'm getting paid about $15,000 an hour to sit around. Now times that.
Remember how
by 10 years.
Remember how I met him. Can you imagine me calling you? Hey, you want to fly to Vegas and JetBlue with me?
I would still met with you though.
Come on, man.
I would still met with you.
We wouldn't even know each other.
Yes,
right
we would.
now. It was a great investment.
Now,
It was a great investment.
as I was saying,
It was a great investment.
you know, but however, I say all that, but we both operate in different ways, and that's the beauty of Shark Tank. You have a bunch of sharks up there who believe fundamentally different things, and if that is where his quality of life is that he wants to be, then it's okay. Now, don't get me wrong, I spend some good money on some real stupid shit myself, but you know, it's just some different stupid shit.
Okay, yeah, you've been to my offices, and you know I have a lot of diversity.
Yes.
And I know you believe in that. What is the importance of people hiring from the whole pool of available talent in the world?
So diversity comes in various different things. It comes in not only race, but religion, but also age. All right, age diversity, bringing in more mature individuals who've been through it, and bringing in some of these kids who are 17 years old and they're communicating around the world in totally different ways. I think diversity is the mother of innovation. You know, because you and I, we may see things together, and it's fine, and I grew up with you, but when I realize that another person on the other side of the planet who grew up totally different ways sees value in something else we're doing, or they go, you know what, you should have thought about it like this. That's what makes us so great. That's what makes the country great, you know. And I know we're going through a tough time, I'm not getting into politics now, but diversity is actually what creates innovation by far. You know, if you're talking amongst yourselves all the time, then you never get out of that ivory tower, you never get out there to see what's going on, then you're the one who's ignorant, right? So my company is extremely diverse. Female, males, young kids, old kids, Indian, Korean, Asians, you know, African Americans, Caucasians, and diversity has probably been the #1 reason for my success. You know, my father left when I was 10 years old. My mother ended up, you know, bringing somebody in my life as my stepfather, and he had to be of the Jewish faith, right? And at that time, you know, us cultures, we believe various different things. You know, I thought, you know, white people walked on water. They don't have any problems. So a lot of times growing up in the hood, the people in authority are calling you the N-word, right? So you never respect or value them. And because you feel they don't value you. Well, he taught me 2 things when he came in my life. He taught me that #1, love doesn't come in color or gender. And white people are just as screwed up as everybody else, right? And that would allow me to walk in a room, and walk in a room as a man, not a black man, not a minority, not anybody else, because he always told me, Daymond, you better be pro-black, but never anti-anything else. And if we look at any kind of social upbringing or even the civil rights war or anything, it was always many diverse people coming together for one common cause, and that creates innovation.
So like when you look at somebody to bring, do you still hire people for your company? I mean,
I do. I try to keep my company under 100 people, and most of my people, probably 70 or 80% of my people, started off in one fashion or form as an intern. They either started as a college intern, well, got credit, or they started as a person who was a professional in another industry, and they didn't become an intern. That's illegal. They would say something like, I'm used to getting this amount of salary, but you know what? I'm gonna come in and give you 3 months. I'm gonna bust my ass for this amount of salary because I'm gonna show you what I can do. The president of my company, Ted, started as an intern. Right? You see his back here, he's an intern. They almost all start as interns, because when you're showing up before the people that are supposed to get paid show up, and you're leaving after the people are supposed to get paid leave, I need you to work for me.
And that adds to the culture
that
you're building as well, right?
And it sets a good standard. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of the tips I've learned is successful people, we are selfish in a good way. We take care of ourselves first. You don't look at Michael Jordan and wonder how he beat or LeBron and wonder how they become so good because they went to everybody else's practice. They practiced their asses off themselves, became the best athlete they could do, and then they can go and contribute to the team. And if you're not selfish yourself, when you wake up in the morning, then you end up chasing everybody else's dream. And I say this, and I can't tell you how many people say it's changed their lives. Do not answer emails for the first hour of the day when you wake up. Because if you answer emails, all you're doing is answering everybody else's problems. How many of you got that email in the morning that said, I solved everything that I was asking you about yesterday and I got $1 million check heading your way? That don't happen, right? Don't go on social media, even Grant's and mine, in the first hour of the day. Why?
Not his. Come on, mine.
I tell you why you can't go on Grant, because what's going to happen is you're going to go on there and then you're going to stay on there, then you're going to start looking at the funny stuff and everything else, because here's what happens. If you wake up in the morning with all these problems from everybody else in your email, right? And then you take another hour looking at everybody on social media who is, sexier, prettier, having a better time than you when they're all screwed up. You end up having all these worries of the world and then getting depressed from all this other stuff. And you stop thinking about yourself. Also, prioritize your personal life and your health and your family. Make a schedule to call your mother, kiss your mother, go to dinner with your daughters. One of my friends, and this is great for you because I didn't know this, I didn't have this technique in my life when my 2 girls were growing up, my 2 oldest girls. My friend made sure that he takes each one of his daughters out on a date every 2 months, just one at a time. Because he said, if I don't take my daughters out on a date, how are my daughters ever going to know how a man is supposed to treat them, right? Think about that, right? Absolutely.
That's why he's the people shark. He's the favorite shark on your convention. Most popular.
I don't know, but
I just think
my mother says I am. But schedule that time with your family. Why? Because you're scheduling everybody else. You're scheduling what time you got to be on the train or the plane, the conference call, what time you got to do lunch, what time you got to be at the restaurant with a bunch of other people that you don't like. But you're not scheduling time to be with your husband or your wife or your children because you're thinking that's impersonal. However, you'll turn around and 20 years will pass and the kid's out. You have a failing relationship. You gotta be selfish. You gotta know who you are. And who are you? Have you taken that hour a day or 2 hours every month or week and say, am I who I wanted to be when I was growing up? Did I fulfill my dreams? Because many of you went to school because society told you were supposed to do this, or your parents said, our house is like this. You end up being in a career that you never wanted to be in because you never took time to see who you wanted to be and write out that chart of who you want to be.
Right? Come on, man. If you're going to do it, do it.
I mean, I like